Go.
Hello, welcome back to another casted game on the Age of Bison YouTube channel. My name is SerSharkDad, back and recording in the chair, and I'm joined here by Dunamai. How's it going, sir?
Super fine. Glad to be here.
Awesome. So we're continuing the 2v2 tournament here on the Age of Sombras Discord. We have Team Health playing Dutch and Britain, and then Zion going Dutch, Mexico. Very interesting game. You want to talk a little bit about this in particular? I'm not too familiar with team games myself, so the team maps are going to be a little bit different for me. Dunamai, you want to talk a little bit more about the map for our audience?
Yeah, sure. So on the Rockies map, especially in 2v2, just to give a bit of perspective, like in green we have Satanasso. This is a new player. It's an enemy. You can see that the enemy is actually closer than Nihai 97, which is his ally. So it's a very aggressive map where if you rush down one of the players as a team, the other guys has to know it, and he has to know it quickly because he doesn't have a lot of time to help you before your TC goes down. So really aggressive map. I expect to see a lot of forward bases to take this map to make sure you can react to everything, and yeah, really aggressive map, and a lot of resources and coin in the middle, also in the side. So you really need to have a lot of map control to win this.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of points of entrance all around the map. It's very resource intensive with plenty up for grabs. Taking a look at the center of the map, we see a little bit of treasure gathering going on. I'm gonna want to see exactly what are we looking at in terms of the decks here. Let's take a look at the British deck. Looking to send in a shipment, perhaps. Okay, there's the 3 villager card coming in. Pretty standard, I would say. A little bit more resource cards available for a British deck. Okay, we'll take a look at all the other ones here. Taking a look at the Dutch deck on same team. Okay, interesting. More resource cards again in H2, just a little bit more probably for potential H2 play going in for Mexico. I'm not even going to pretend. I have a kind of an idea. Okay, interesting. A little H1 play. The jalapeno card, I'm trying to remember what that... I think that's a food shipment, right? Jalapeno peppers, slightly gather. Yeah, and then it's like a 250%. So very interesting. Wondering to see if there's going to be like a bit of a timed boom to come into play. You never really see that. And then you also have cigar rollers too, which is another coin gathering card. Interesting. What's that H4 card there at the bottom?
This one, it's another pepper cards. The same card, the same principle. Basically, pepper cards make sure that your haciendas actually gather better than hunts for a few seconds, a minute or 30 seconds depending on the card, and then you have a permanent buff, which is really low.
Right. Okay, well, we'll see if this game ends up going to H4, and then taking a look at Zion's deck here really quick.
Zion, up there.
Okay, so we got Town Militia, and once again, pretty standard, except for some of the H4 cards are a little bit different. Yeah, 17 Ritter. So, going to be interesting. A lot more resource cards because of a team game, so I'm very curious. So we see H2 coming in right now for British player and Dutch and Mexico. Everybody's going up to H2. Pretty good times. We're looking at around the 4-minute mark. Pretty standard stuff. Little contested for the treasure, but I believe on this map, there's pretty, at least on team maps for sure. Like you have to see a pretty coordinated taking of treasures. Where teams are going to be kind of negotiating, okay, do you want this, do you want that, and wanting to make sure that you get that early resource advantage. Forward Hacienda here going up with Mexico as well. Very forward Hacienda. That's interesting. Okay. Yeah, I wonder if have they scouted that out? No, I don't think so.
They did not. I'm on their point of view. They did not scout it.
Okay, interesting. So we may be seeing some sort of like you said, a forward operating base on Zion's side. Okay, on their side, we see now stable going in. So definitely, you wouldn't really expect, you don't really expect Dutch to really play it out H2. They want to sit back, take their time. But they're a really great choice in team games because if the game is extended, the Dutch just continue to gain strength. Mexico can go either way. They can, sit around or they can rush. They have a lot of options open to them. And then Britain is for sure a boom kind of civ. So you definitely see them a lot in team play as well. Forward operating base, once again, still going up on the part of Team Zion. Really wondering if Team Health is going to be able to see this. Okay, a little Panther action going on. The Mexican Explorer and I believe a Scout just kind of going to work on this bank. Just wanting to chip off a few of those health points, I imagine, just when the siege is starting to come in. So like you were saying, that when you want to, at least get a really aggressive play, it forces the other player to then come out of their base. And that's kind of a bit of a distance to travel in between, in terms of Team Health's case, for the British player to be able to get his troops up there. So yeah, a number of outposts coming in as well from the Dutch side as well. So that's was that the 2 outpost shipment in H2. So then that will give them quite a bit of defense. Hopefully to kind of stave off whatever they're intending to push forward.
They don't have the 2 towers.
Oh, so he ended up just... Okay, I guess I must have missed that. My apologies. He's actually just building those.
Yeah.
On its own. Interesting. Yeah. Okay, well, that must be the 3 Hussar shipment coming in for the Dutch on the Team Zion side. And then we got a few... The oh-so-infamous Soldados coming in for command. Get that output. Okay, so... Let's see how the British player is going to respond. So let's say Dunamai, it's, I'm Dutch player, you're Brit player. What are you thinking? Are you going to immediately come in and say, let's kind of wait and see. I want to boom a little bit more. Maybe send some troops forward against that forward base.
So at that point, I guess, they now see. So Brits coming behind it, sieging down the forward, which is, I think, an excellent idea. When you're Mexico, you don't want to do this hacienda for 2 reasons, as we see a good kiting here. This hacienda is a forward shipment point, but this hacienda is also basically 240 XP that's sitting around, not able to defend itself. So you don't want to give that out to your opponent. And I guess we're going to see a bit of fighting around this forward base. When you have this much resources around, you don't want to lose this much resource and tactical advantage of being in the front of your opponent's base, threatening him.
Yeah, pretty huge loss on the part of the Team Zion here. So we see about maybe a 15 musketeer. I don't know what they had originally for the Brit player. Very good pressure on the forward base there from Satanasso. Hope I'm saying that correct. And then obviously the 8 pikeman shipment's going to give that increasing siege in order to get this out. But that's about 400 resource commitment in terms of wood, and then obviously the forward hacienda, probably not the best play on their part. But again, hindsight's 2020 on Dutch player's side here. Yep, more wood coming in. So once again, those H2 resource cards that we saw on the decks are actually going to be playing a pretty big role here, as you're kind of expecting, like you were saying, Dunamai, a lot of aggressive options coming in the early game. So you're going to want those extra cards, so that way you can focus on your unit production and then allow the wood to be able to build up your infrastructure. Yeah, they're going to continue to siege down that hacienda. Perfect. And then interesting base building on Zion's part here. I love the kind of canted market going on, but they've been able to continue to put pressure on the opponent. You see more Hussar raids coming in, just continuing to idle that enemy economy. So at least that allows them to get some more map control despite losing that forward base. What do you think?
Yeah, and also an interesting thing is that forward base did something actually. That they forced the outpost, and this is 500 wood he's not getting back.
That's right.
And as a result, we have 1 bank for Dutch and 17 villagers. And for the other, we have 20 villagers and 3 banks. So a definitive economic advantage for the Zion team.
Yes. Let's take a look at the British side really quick. I thought he was building a wall there on the right. So I'm really wondering, okay, so just to kind of, once again, and then an outpost as well. So it's so imperative, especially in these team games where the map is a lot wider. and the bases are a little bit more farther apart, you know, you want to be able to control those lanes of pressure. And so allowing, you know, because the Brits, for at least, you know, for the Brits, food control, oh, huge raid here. And this is exactly what I was about to start talking about. Food control is so huge for Britain. They boom so quickly with their settlers. They absolutely are so food reliant, and you're going to want to access those hunts because you don't want to fall behind in using auto gathering, or sorry, infinite gathering resources like your mills, you know, in order, because that just slows you down.
Yes,
and so putting up those walls, and then as you see, those manors are in certain strategic locations of increasing the site. Oh, but what a great response here.
Yep.
Massive musketeer. Massive, just completely, just absolutely pounding away at the base. I don't know exactly. I mean, only Hussar are Zion. He's got a few soldados. I guess he can get Salteadores, but I don't know exactly. I mean, are these musketeers carded at all?
No, this is vanilla musketeers. He does have a shipment though.
Two of the musketeer upgrade shipments. I don't know if he's going to send those in, but the double carded musketeers in H2 is deadly. And look at that, 2 barracks and forward with another Dutch barracks. So that's a, you know, honestly, that's an underrated combination. Just having musketeers and skirmishers
Ready.
in H2 will do great work. I mean, those musketeers will hold off any hussars that he has, and then I don't know exactly what would be the to counter with, but
maybe. But the thing is, soldados are good, but musketeers are just better. Like British carded musketeers, you have 2 musketeers for 1 soldado because soldados are 2 population. You just don't screw with a British musketeer when it's guarded.
No, not at all, especially not in H2. And then, of course, the soldados not only are, you know, double pop, but take a little bit longer to train. So despite being a higher quality unit on a pound-for-pound basis, he's just going to continue to be able to mass so much more musketeers. Dutch pressure on the Zion team is just trying to, once again, I'm talking about the food control on the British side is so imperative. Those hunts are going to continue to harass the British economy. I don't know exactly what he's going to be doing with this musketeer mass. I guess correct me if I'm wrong, I guess the key right now for Zion is to buy time. I feel like the Mexico player has kind of been put off base. It's not massing as much. The Dutch player, at least on Team Health side, has kind of been thrown off a little bit with the early pressure. So maybe Zion is looking to kind of change strategies a little bit and buy some time through some raids and get those musketeers to be a little bit busy in the base.
That's definitely what the strategy here with the NH3 coming from a new player. And Zion is just adding more banks. We have a cheeky Dutch.
That's really funny.
That I think was just forgotten and that managed to hang at a house.
I was hoping he kind of took it down, but I saw the TC fire was coming in. And I wonder if any of these players are going to be interested in going up to H3. I would think that at least the British player, I think that's a pretty solid mass that you have pushing. I would go ahead and go with the H3, but it doesn't seem any of these players seem to be interested. It's kind of a risky move, I think, with so many resources sunk in right now to the that if anybody would decide to stack up the resources to age up, they may be found wanting because then the push will come and then you don't really have the resources to respond to it.
And that's a lot of musketeers, and that would definitely siege down, especially if you have the attack card that's coming in. This TC stands absolutely no chance if it's not defended.
Like you said, it's going pretty much quickly now. I mean, Team Zion's got some skirmishers here on the edge just trying, but I mean, these skirmishers are just going to, whoever has more is going to win, and it seems like that on the side of Team Healthy, he's going to have skirmishers to be able to hold this up. So Dallas just kind of dancing around here on the edge, but this TC is most definitely going down. Huge settlers just being absolutely just gunned down as they're trying to run over the back of the base. And I don't know exactly what the play is here. I guess he can try to rebuild in the back of the base of Zion, but it's always so difficult, like in a team game, to really just kind of bounce back from that when you have 2 players pressure on 1.
Yeah. I think this is a tale of a greedy H3 that has gone terribly, terribly wrong, because now he's on the back foot, The scores are crumbling. We were basically even at the beginning of H3, and now we have a 4K lead. So
Yeah, it's pretty massive, and it's so problematic too, because the thing is that you don't necessarily want to give Britain time, but then you also don't want to fight them in H2. It's a really weird combination, right? Because the ability for them to boom and to have that kind of mass, even for Dutch, like now the Dutch players have had some time, 13 minutes into the game, 14 minutes, it's pretty easy for, at least on the part of Team Health, to mass up, and there it is. Like Britain was just able to absolutely pump out just once they survived that initial push. I mean, Britain was able to just pump out those musketeers and give his teammate, a lot of time to get his skirmisher mass, and that was a pretty deadly combination. I don't know, what would you think that you would do different on the part of Team Zion?
very hard to tell. First of all, as you said, this is an excellent combination. You don't want to fight Brits in H2. You don't want to let them boom. So you want to go H3, but then again, or you want to kill them with skirmishes. But there's Dutch skirmishers on the other hand that can be carded through the infantry attack and HP cards. I don't know if they have them. Yep, right there.
Yep.
So very good H2 skirms. So you don't really want to, kill the musketeer with skirm because you're going to skirm the skirm war. You don't want to use cavalry because there's just too much musketeers. It's just what is the least bad decision you can have, essentially. And I think for Mexico, this least bad decision was 2 Falcons shipment, I guess. I don't know if he had it in the deck, but there was the 2 Falcons shipment that would have essentially crushed these mass, but he needed some mass to protect said cannon. And the H3 was basically the bell ring that just made skirmishers and musketeer rush into the town center and siege it down.
Yeah, and it may be the case that with Zion, he probably dedicated a little bit too much to the Hussar play. I'm really wondering, if there was enough coordination between the two of them, in which you would see, specifically, you make this unit and I make this unit, and that's it. And then let the chips fall where they may. I think that's probably a more preferable option, because it seemed like he had the Hussar in the opening to put the pressure, but then he had to switch to skirms, and then you had the Mexican player that was then playing with salteadores, but then he decided to switch to soldados, and Mexico's also in a weird spot because he could have revolted into H3 and then just done early falconets against it. That would have probably been good against Britain, but who exactly knows? It's so hard to play around it. But I think still a good showing overall. I mean, I do not think I could beat any one of these players in a 1v1. I'm not lending any sort of criticism. These are two fantastic teams with higher than average skill level on the part of both of these players, and grateful that they let us to kind of pick over their recording and cast over it. So thank you guys so much for listening to this recording. If you like what we do here at the Age of Bison YouTube channel, you go ahead and please hit that like button, give a subscribe. Always helps out with the traction, as we are just trying our best to just put more Age of Empires 3 content out there, let people know about this fantastic game. Thank you so much, everyone, and we will see you in the next one.